700 horses of man and machine. They're full wide. Green flag, showtime. The Knoxville Nationals are green.
All right, good evening, everyone. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay as we get rolling here tonight from I-55. Things are starting to get underway here. We got about another 4 minutes before we actually start to get qualifying underway. So let's take that time here and let's kind of go over here, if we can get them to come up here for me. The points for tonight. Standing is going on. The standings here. Let's see here. We need the Thursday night Thunder 358 division. We got Sam Bachman out front with 552 points. Trevor Giroux in second. Anthony Morano in third with 454. Mike Brewer with 439 sitting in fourth. Kelly Wheeler in fifth. So we'll take a look at some of the names here as I just read them off. Let's get me another look here. Sam Bachman, Trevor Giroux, and Anthony Morano, your top three. Sam Bachman not out on track right now. Anthony Morano right now the quickest out on track. Hard to say if that's where he'll continue to be as the night progresses. Mike Brewer there in the number 39. Kelly Wheeler there in the 11 or 110, but 11 down there on track. JDB Ronco out there in that Pizza Hut double zero machine as he works the bottom side, trying to find out where his car best handles as Morano goes through on the outside. He's starting to get that top lane hooked up. As the track wears off here in practice. See if it gets a little bit of reconditioning here during before we get into qualifying. We'll have to wait and see. We got about another 2 minutes before we start. Been great racing all season long so far for these 358 and big blocks. The big blocks will be up next after the 358s have finished tonight. And like always, we'll continue on to the pro late models. And if you're watching on Flieger Farm TV, you got a treat last week as we stayed live through the pro late models last week. This week, we're see how that plays out. Is normally we're down on track, so we hand the broadcast over, so we do not record the pro late models normally. But here at Coast to Coast Racing Network, you see the whole show. Hopefully, it's always been a great show. I see the two of Harold Klump as he works there on the bottom side, trying to see where his car best handles. And these are fixed setups, so really the drivers don't have too much that they can really adjust. They can choose whether or not they can attach or not the right front brake. They can also decide whether or not they would like to, where they would like the offset. So, and some drivers, they change it. Some drivers, they leave it alone. So, I mean, it's all up to the driver where they feel comfortable to get the most speed that they feel out of the car. So right now, Anthony Morano, the quickest here in practice with a 12.147. There you see them all sitting on pit road. They're just waiting for the driver's meeting here, I believe. I get set to rock and roll tonight from a Federated I55. Should be a great show, so don't go anywhere. There's a lot of racing coming up here on Coast to Coast Racing Network, along with the Flieger Farm TV. We're here on the pole tonight. There we go, qualifying underway. We'll see who the first car is to take to the track. Have we wait on this? Oh, nope, I'm sorry. No, we're still waiting on qualifying to commence. Everything's booting up just fine. All right, here we go. Out on track first. It's going to be Randall Dixon there in the 011. He's down there on the bottom side of the speedway, coming off the corner. Coming across stripe up there. And no, the track did not reset, so it's going to stay pretty slick here throughout the night. They come down here in the corner number one. Want to try to stay ahead of the track as well. That's the one key here for dirt racing. As we see here, Harold Klump coming there off the corner, coming down here through the back stretch into corner number 3 and 4, back around onto the front stretch. And he is quickest right now. Trevor Guru lays out the quick time now with a 30.038. Demi Rungle with a 13.255 down there towards the bottom. They are still bouncing up there towards the top. We got Dylan Kinsey with a 13.016, so not quite the time we saw in in practice. There comes Mike Crew with a sub-13, bringing in a 12.990. Okay, got Scott Riome out there. There comes that 007 of Sam Bachman. Down there on the inside, Kelly Wheeler with a 13.030. Bachman comes in there with a 13.099. Chase Vasco's running here tonight as well. He's sitting there in about 16th or 17th with a 13.161. There you just watched the 4 of Scott Riome. He's come across. He's sitting in 17. Here we see the 23 of William Watson. Watson there has a 13.057. We're going to see if Joseph Grandi takes the thing, and he will not. Clay Christopherson clear down at the bottom with a 19.939. So, starting here in heat number 1, getting things started off tonight. William Watson out there in front, Harold Klump second, Kelly Wheeler there third, Mike Brewer in fourth, Anthony Morano there fifth, Jake Matsko in sixth, Mason Hine there in seventh, and D.B. Runkle there in eighth, Joseph Grundy there in ninth. All right, so it looks like the Flicker Farm Motorsports is out there, ready to get things underway, but I do not see Chase as of yet, as Chase is down in the pits, missing the start. Hopefully everything's okay there. Pretty cool looking 23 machine out there as your pole sitter as he played the invert here. Harold Klump out there in front. William Watson there second. Kelly Wheeler there third. Mike Brewer in fourth. And come down here off the corner. Everybody get lined up. Chase Matsko down there in the pits. Luckily, this is just the heat, so he can still come out for the B main. Or the LCQ, whatever you want to call it. And they work down the backstretch. Here we go. Off of turn number 3 and 4. Back out here onto the front stretch. Side by side. Green flag now in the air as we got 9 laps to go. Runkle back here just trying to find some place of getting a little bit. As you see him down there on the inside there, you see Morano struggling as well as he's there in the slick, trying to get those cars moved up through towards the front of the field. Chase Matsko back here on, well, no, he's technically lapped down here as everybody comes there off the front straightaway back around here. Of course, on to turn number 1. William Watson out there in front, Kelly Wheeler there second. We do have some problems there, trying to figure out who's around. That looks to be Mason Hine, I believe, going around. That's going to allow Chase Matsko to try to catch up here to the back of the field, as he's doing a pretty good job here, slinging that mud around, getting back up there. Currently on lead lap. I misspoke there a little bit before. As William Watson out front, Kelly Wheeler there second, Morano third. Brewer here in fourth, as here comes Harold Klump up into the outside wall a little bit, as they work down here in the corner number 1, 3, and 4, back out on the front stretch. Here comes Runkle as he works there on the bottom side as well, trying to work something there. You come off the 2, down that back stretch, into corner number 3 and 4. Everybody single file for the most part. And you got Chase Matsko just trying to get some track time there, trying to see if he can get that car rolled up there towards the front. And everybody there, whoa, hang on to it, Morano, as he slides it in there, slides up the racetrack, up towards that outer wall, up there. Now he's going to start running that outside lane. So keep an eye on that. He might find something up there. It's hard to say as he now goes back down there underneath. Look out, here comes that 390 of Mike Brewer. He found something down there on the bottom side. If he can just get down there and hook it up. And the checkered flag waves here in heat number 1. Heat 1 results. That'll be William Watson, Kelly Wheeler in second, Anthony Morano there third, Mike Brewer fourth, Harold Klump fifth, D.B. Runkle there in sixth, Mason Hine there in seventh, Chase Matsko in eighth, Joseph Grundy finishes tonight in ninth. And then starting here in heat number 2, that's going to be Kurt Schatzer, Dean Reynolds there in the outside row, Trevor Garou there in third, Dylan Kinsey there in fourth, Sam Bachman fifth, Scott Riome in sixth, John DeBye there in seventh, and Barry Wallace in eighth. These drivers get headed out here. There you see Reynolds up there on the outside lane. Going to see if he can make the show here. 639 at Dylan Kinsey out there in the fourth spot. As they roll down the front straightaway here in the corner number 1. or I'm sorry, off 3 and 4 now. Here we go. Green flag is out. We're down and away. 8 laps the distance here. Look out. Dean Reynolds up there sliding towards the top, trying to get to the outside of the 218. Kurt Schatzer does so, but looking on the bottom side, here comes that 75. And oh no, Dean's up into the outside wall. Keeps a hold of it. And work here off the corner of the 75 there up Trevor Giroux. Working down there on the bottom side, bringing with him that 007 of Sam Bachman. As Reynolds comes up, he's going to end up getting things bottled up there. The 4 of Scott Riome, he's going to try to get it moved up through. Dean Reynolds there in 5th. Dylan Kinsey there in 4th. Now up to 3rd as he works down underneath. Trevor Giroux there in 2nd. Kurt Schatzer up in front. 4 to go here in heat number 2. They roll around off of turn number 2, back out onto the backstretch. Kurt Schatzer up there in front. Trevor Giroux there in 2nd as they roll around here off of 3 and 4. 3 to go here for heat number 2. Down here across off the front straightaway here into the back straightaway. Everybody side by side there. You see Sam Bachman in that 007 trying to get underneath Dean Reynolds. Cannot quite get there as they roll down through the front stretch. Down into corner number 1 and 2. 2 more times around. As we got 2 laps to go. Out front, Kurt Schatzer. Everybody's kind of single file out here. There you see Barry Wallace back here rolling along the bottom side. Dylan Kinsey up here in 3rd as he's rolling around there. Underneath that 75 of Trevor Giroux. As we're around here for the final time. Unofficial results to come out of 4. Kurt Schatzer as your winner. Dylan Kinsey in 3rd. Trevor Giroux 2nd. See how this plays out. All right, here for Heat 2 results. Kurt Schatzer out there winning it. Trevor Giroux in 2nd. Dylan Kinsey 3rd. Dean Reynolds 4th. Sam Bachman there 5th. Scott Riome 6th. John Dubai in 7th. And Barry Wallace out there in 8th. Heat number 3 coming up. We got Brandon Templeton out there in front. Alex Pomeroy there in 2nd. Brian Dickens there 3rd. Jeff Barker 4th. Randall Dixon 5th. Bob DeGood there in 6th. Stephen Bixler in 7th. And Clay Christopherson there in 8th. Everybody rolls off pit road, getting ready to go here for heat number 3. Remember, 8 laps the distance. All right, green flags in the air. We're down and away, down in the corner number 1. Great racing so far, and look out, the 122 there. Brian Dickens getting a little bit out of sorts. They're in the middle of the 6th up as they work down here in the corner number 3 and 4. Look out, here comes that 397 of Alex Pomeroy as he gets up there in the 2nd. Up here on the top side, that's going to be at 31 so far. Brandon Templeton leading the way, but I'm trying to figure out, I think that's the 513, yeah, that's 513 there. Jeff Barker rolling that top side, trying to get that squared away. They go 3 wide back here towards the back. With the 7 there, Bob DeGood down there on the bottom. They're trying to get underneath the 75 of Stephen Bixler. And Clay Christopherson has pulled it into the pits. And I'm sorry, I should have this up. 5 to go here for heat number 2. 4 to go now. They come here out of turn number 4. Brandon Templeton out there in front. Here comes Alex Pomeroy. Brian Dickens there in 3rd. Struggled there off the start of heat number 2, but got it gathered back up again, working down there now on the bottom side of the 397 of Alex Pomeroy. They get it back underway here, looking pretty good. They come together a little bit there, coming out of turn number 4, down here in the corner number 1 and 2. Down the backstretch once again, 2 laps to go, soon to be 1 lap as they come here out of 4. Down that front straightaway. Final time around for Brandon Templeton as he's out front. Alex Parmalu there in second, but got a nearful of Brian Dickens that come down here in corner number 3. There you see the 011 of Randall Dixon also fight down there on the bottom side, but no, to no avail. They'll come across where they kind of been running the last few laps. As heat number 3 is in the books. So, Brandon Templeton out there in front, winning that. Alex Parmalu in second. Brian Dickens third. Randall Dixon there fourth. Jeff Barker there fifth. Stephen Bexler there in sixth. Bob DeGood seventh. And Clay Christopherson there in eighth. All right, here for the B main. Harold Klump is going to lead it off with Sam Bachman there in second. Jeff Barker there in third. D.V. Runkle in fourth. Scott Rione fifth. Stephen Bixler there in sixth. Mason Hine in 7th, John Dubai in 8th, Bob DeGood 9th, Chase Matsko there in 10th, Barry Wallace 11th, Clay Christopherson there in 12th, and Joseph Grundy out there in 13th. So 13 cars supposedly to take the grid here, but I think it's only going to be 12 as they come around here looking to get started. Lights are out. We're getting underway here. Eight drivers come out of 2. Back down that back stretch. Lights are out. Should be a good time here to watch these drivers try to make what they can to get themselves into the show tonight. Pace car is off. Here we go. Green flag is out. 11 laps to this. 10 laps to go. And they're already stacking up down on the bottom side. I see them all put together down there. Bob DeGood, Barry Wallace, and company as everybody else gets out front. Scott Rione, Stephen Bixler, Mason Hine, Bob DeGood, and Barry Wallace all caught up in that accident there. Hopefully I got them named off right. As everybody still continues out, that's going to help some of these drivers, hurt others. As we got 8 to go here in the B main. Clay Christopherson making some moves as he's up 7 spots from where he started. Running that top lane up here behind D.V. Runkle now. Harold Klump out there in second. You got Sam Bachman out there in front. Chase Matsko up 4 positions from where he started as he's up there in the 6th. Working down there on the bottom side. Here comes Bob DeGood. Looks like Bob DeGood has entered pit lane here. He might have some issues on that machine. Goes it back to the pits. Looking down there to the bottom side as Sam Bachman, as he works underneath the 007, the 007 is working on there underneath that machine. That looks to be the 75 of Stephen Bixler. Barry Wallace right there in front of him as well. That's going to create some havoc here as the lap traffic comes into contact with the leaders. Now we see D.V. Runkle trying to hang on to that 4th spot there as he's got Clay Christopherson right there behind him. Working down through the front stretch, and Clay is right there, but D.V. Runkle's going to hold it up there as well. He's gaining ground on that 513, it looks like, down there through the bottom. A little bit at a time, just not enough. So he's got to be careful, keep an eye on where Clay might be. Final lap here as Clay works down there on the bottom. Here we go, off the corner. Harold Klump up there in second. Jeff Barker third. Clay gets up there. Drag race to the line. It's going to be D.V. Runkle taking that 4th spot. Chase Matsko there in 6th. We'll get the final result, or the results here. All right, here we see the consolation results. Sam Bachman out there in front. Harold Klump in second. Jeff Barker finished third. D.V. Runkle there 4th, Clay Christopherson 5th, Chase Matsko 6th, John Dubai in 7th, Mason Heim there in 8th, Scott Riome in 9th, Barry Wallace 10th, Stephen Bixler there in 11th, Bob the Good in 12th, and Joseph Grande in 13th. So they're going to take a moment to warm up here in the for the feature, and we'll be back in a, well, no, we'll go ahead and stay here this time through the warm-up. We got about 2 minutes here of warm-up. We'll see how these drivers can kind of figure out the track here as it's gotten worn in throughout the night here. Up there towards the top is Sam Bachman, Anthony Morano, and his company. So looking pretty good so far, but we will take a commercial break and be back here shortly.
These dollars that come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in the race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists. But it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
All right, back here from the Speedway, you got William Watson out front, Azure full center, Kurt Satzer there in second, Brandon Templeton there in third, Kelly Wheeler fourth, Trevor DeRue fifth, Alex Parmalu there sixth, Anthony Morano seventh, Dylan Kinsey there eighth, Brian Dickinson ninth, Mike Brewer in 10th, Dean Reynolds 11th, in 12th it's going to be Randall Dixon, 13th is going to be Sam Bachman, Harold Klump in 14th, Jeff Parker 15th, Davey Ruckle will roll off in 16th, Clay Christopherson there in 17th, Chase Matsko there in 18th, John Dubai in 19th with Mason Hine there in 20th, Scott Riome 21st, 22nd is going to start Barry Wallace with Steve Bixler there in 23rd, and Bob the Good there in 24th. All right, so we get ready for the start of the main event here tonight. Pace car looks like it's gonna pull in. Driver gonna go green flag racing. And come down there, down into corner number 1. You got 23, William Watson, down there along the bottom side. Working there off the corner, and they all come storming down. Down into corner number 3 and 4. Got Anthony Morano there in the middle with that number 32. They come rolling off the corner. As looks like Kurt Schatzer is going to get a run out there on the outside. Coming down there, we got 30 laps of distance here. As they work here off the corner. Going down here off the corner. There you see the 11 of Kelly Wheeler rolling down there off the corner. You got Brandon Templeton there in fourth. Alex Parmalu there fifth. Trevor Carew there in sixth. Anthony Morano there seventh. And oh no, we got trouble. That's a couple of them. Big contact there. That was the 122. Brian Dickens getting a little tangled up there, but everybody keeps it straight. And oh no, yeah, it looks like the 11. There's a few of them. Oh no, Chase Matsko and D.B. Runkle getting into tangle, and Runkle's up there against the outside wall. Careful, guys, your teammates. You don't want to be doing that type of stuff. We are off the corner. Matt and Chase getting up there, getting rolling as he's now up there towards the top side. 24 laps to go. Trying to see if he can get somewhere with this as they roll down here through turns 1 and 2. D.B. Runkle back here toward the back, still trying to hang on to what little bit he has back here as he goes 3 wide for the lead. And Schatzer up on the outside, Wheeler down on the inside, making a meat sandwich out of William Watson. As now they back off a little bit, Watson now goes back down there to the inside where he's kind of been trapped by Kurt Schatzer. They roll there off of 2, now through turns 3 and 4, back around here. 22 laps to go, looking good so far. As they all come storming there off the front, down the front stretch into corner number 1 and 2, back out onto the back stretch. Morano's got company there from Alex Parmalu down there on the inside. Alex trying to get that inside lane to work, cannot. The 122 there, Brian Dickens, he's working down there on the inside as well. So now he's underneath 397 of Alex Parmalu. Drivers all over the place. Chase Matsko's trying to roll his way up through. Jamie Runkle's blinking out, it looks like, for a moment. Not sure where he is. Not sure what's going on there. So don't pay attention to those ones that say out. I'm not sure what's going on there. They aren't out. I know they're out there running. I've seen them. There's Dean Reynolds. Up there in the number 79. He's up there on the top side of the racetrack. Kurt Schatzer still doing a great job out front trying to hold everybody off. But William Watson, he's definitely putting in a fight down there on the low side. Brian Dickens has crashed. We'll take a look at it here. Bringing out caution flag number 1. There you see Dickens down there on the inside at 122. Ends up getting up into the slick. When he brings it down, may get a little bit help. He come off, and it was just 2 cars fighting for the same real estate. Here as they come off the corner, you see that 397 trying to cut underneath the 39. And 122 just ends up bringing that line up, getting into the back of the 397. Of Alex Parmalu, putting that 122 of Brian Dickens down there against the inside wall, bringing out our first caution. All right, 16 laps to go. Green flag is out. They're back down underway. Schatzer getting a great start. Here comes William Watson down there on the inside, but look out top side. Coming strong there is the 31 of Brandon Templeton as he now gets underneath there, working his way towards the front. He now gets underneath Watson, cannot quite get it to stick as they are going almost 3 wide, almost 4 wide there, coming off of turn number 2. And you got 15 laps to go now. Anthony Morano stuck there in the middle, right behind the 11 of Kelly Wheeler. 14 laps to go here as they work down the backstretch. Hang on to it. Chase Vasco getting a little bit tangled up there. Got it straightened out. Everybody keeps it straight. Chase there behind the 4 of Scott Rion. Work on down through. Not sure where. Here comes Runkle. Okay, he's still back here. So Runkle's not out. Even though the scoreboard there on the left says Runkle is out, he's not out. He's still running back there. Anything can happen. Kurt Schatzer out front here, battling with William Watson. Kelly Wheeler watching it all happen there in front of him. Here comes that 31 of Brandon Templeton there with Anthony Morano underneath. Blake Christopherson, Sam Bachman, and Jeff Barker all getting together. Looked like TV Runkle brought it to a halt there, if that was who I think I saw. And you see them all coming in here. There's Chase Matsko down there. They go almost 4 wide there, coming off the corner. And then they just get caught up there, and then more calamity. And I'm not sure what happened there. See if we can see what happened there. Scott Rion there. That's 007. Of Sam Bachman. Getting caught up there and end up the racetrack. There you see the 39 again. Oh, the 39 checked up, and just a chain reaction there, unfortunately, and just stacks everybody up there behind him. Yeah, it is the 00 of Runkle back here as well. So, few cars tied up. Let's get back to green flag racing, though. We've got 10 laps to go. Trevor Garou out front now. Or, I'm sorry, no, Kurt Schatzer out front. William Watson there second. Brandon Templeton there in third. With Kelly Wheeler working down there below him as we've got 9 laps to go down here off of turn number 2. Back down into corner number 3 and 4. We've got the 32 of Anthony Morano working there. Here they come. And they work on down here off the corner there. You see that 75 up there along that outside lane. That's the 75T of Trevor Garou. The other 75 of Steven Bixler is back here towards the back a little bit. But the 75T of Trevor Garou is sitting there in the pits right now. They work down here off on the corner. Working down that front straightaway. You see the 32 of Anthony Morano down there on the bottom side, trying to get underneath Wheeler. Cannot quite get there. Now they work here off of 2. Back down here in the corner number 3. Morano back down there on the bottom side, getting the nose out front of Wheeler. As they work down here in the 3 and 4 once again. So I'm sorry, 1 and 2. Working down out back stretch. Wheeler not getting much ground there. As we see, Schatzer's trying to hang on over top of William Watson. And just look how dark that track is here tonight. It has slickened up something fierce, it seems. And these drivers battle down there on the bottom side, trying to make something happen. Steven Bixler up there in 17th. Blake Christopherson, he battles around as well. 3 laps to go. Just jumping through the field here to see what battles are going on. And this is crazy all over the place. William Watson making the slide there, trying to get in front of Kurt Schatzer. Cannot quite get it to hold here as he's now up there on the top side. He's going to see if he can get the power off. Cannot. He does for the moment. Final lap here. Kurt Schatzer and William Watson battling it out for first and second here as they come down the backstretch. And Watson now has it for the moment as they come down through into the corner. Here coming off. It's going to be William Watson. What a run there for him. Morano getting third underneath Brandon Templeton if that stays. What a finish here tonight as these cars are all stacked up here in a great bunch tonight. So here is your feature results William Watson there out front. Kurt Satzer second. Anthony Morano third with Brandon Templeton fourth. Kelly Wheeler there in fifth. Trevor Drew in sixth. Dean Reynolds in seventh. Dylan Kinsey there eighth. Mike Brewer in ninth. Alex Pomerleau 10th. Randall Dixon there 11th. Harold Klump in 12th. Chase Masco 13th. Scott Briome there 14th. Bob DeGood 15th. Brian Dickens there in 16th. Stephen Bixler there 17th. On down here into 18th, that's going to be Sam Bachman. Clay Christopherson bringing home 19th. Jeff Barker in 20th. D.V. Runkle in 21st. John Dubai there in 22nd. Barry Wallace finishes tonight 23rd. Mason Hine rounds out here in 24th. All right, well, let's go and see if we can go and get some of these drivers here. Trying to figure out where we're at here, trying to get things underway. All right, so Anthony Morano, our third place finisher. Good evening there, Anthony. How's it going? You hear us okay?
Yep, there you are. Now I can hear you.
Yeah, we're here. All right. How was that track tonight? It seemed like it slicked off pretty quickly there.
Yeah, she got slick. It was tight. Really, really hard, close race, and not a lot of ways to pass. Had to really make dive bomb kind of moves there and be respectful about it, and try to do that the best I can. I cooked Templeton there a little bit towards the end with the right front, his left rear. So didn't mean to get him there, but just kind of a racing deal, trying to get to the front. I think I started like 7th, got to 3rd, so we'll take that and move to big blocks.
Yeah, you definitely look like you had a great time out there, and hopefully, yeah, I mean, bringing the big blocks out, you know, they got a little bit more power, so I think they're going to slicken the track up just as quick, if not a little quicker.
Yeah, but you'll have the more power, so you can really run the top down, and you know, you might see some guys switching and coming with the 358 here. I went big block. I'm sitting here kind of kicking myself. Maybe I should have went 358, but we'll see as the race goes on. Rather have the power and be able to run the top. So we'll see. Hopefully qualify a little bit better and not have to start 5th in a heat race and try to get through that. So we'll see.
All righty. Well, congratulations there, and we'll hopefully we'll see how well you do. You got sponsors and shout-outs you want to give there for getting in the 3rd place here for the first main race of the evening.
I got to thank my wife Sherry, the boys at FTM, Super Air Car, Swan Speed Shop, High Mom Lens, DJ Sim Shop, Vertex Graphics, Expert Installation, Shaggy TV, Top Notch Showing for sponsoring division, Adam, you for coming out and doing the broadcast, and they're running coast to coast behind the scenes to getting us all going.
All right, well, congrats there, Morano, and we'll see how you do in the big blocks and the Pro 8 models here later on.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
All right, that was Anthony Morano, our 2nd place finisher. Or 3rd place, rather. Now we're getting with our 2nd place finisher. Good evening there, Kurt. How's it going?
Man, it's going real good here that I get to sit in the podium and get to talk to you.
Well, you got up here today.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little rusty. I took some time off here and hit and miss and kind of just get the race here when I can. So, yeah, I'm a little rusty. I'm just trying to keep my nose clean and stay out of trouble and just bring home a decent finish. And got a little lucky there with my draw in the heat race and the time trials, and got to start up front in the heat race, and that that just carries over throughout the night.
Well, you did a great job getting that car up there. I know you were battling there quite a bit with Watson. Yeah, I think you led a couple laps, just unfortunately couldn't quite pull it off for the finish.
Yeah, Watson and I had a real good race there. He ran me really clean. I got to give a hats off to him there. Yeah, I just really didn't know where. I got out front early, just really didn't know where to be. I mean, it was kind of slick from top to bottom, so I was just kind of trying to run a little bit of a shallow slider line and pick up traction where I could. And I mean, he was all over me. He got me a couple times, and yellows came back, and it gave me the lead. And I was just trying to do what I could there to keep him behind me and try to click off the laps as fast as I could. But I'm happy with where I'm at.
Yeah, it was definitely a great drag race there to the line. So, I mean, you couldn't ask for a much better race between the front runners. I mean, nobody ran away with it, that's for sure.
No, it was a pretty good race there. I'm glad we stayed close there and put on a good race for the fans at home watching.
Alrighty, well, you got sponsors and shout-outs you want to give for helping you get up there in the second place here tonight?
Yeah, I got to thank Jay with Dirt Track Bank, everything they do to support racers all around the country. Got Your Six Racing Network, Joe Halter, and the team there, Hammer Down Racing, Brandon Templeton, Brian Dickens, and everybody coast to coast coming out and racing, and you doing the broadcast, and fans watching at home.
Alrighty, well, congrats there, Kurt, and will we see any more tonight?
No, I think this was going to be my one and done race tonight, and leave on a high note.
Already, sounds like a good plan. Anyway, don't want to tear much anything else up, right?
Yep, you got it. Thank you.
Alrighty, congrats for second place, and we'll see you next week. Now on the third, our winner here in Victory Lane. Good evening, William. How's it going?
Very good. About you, bud?
It's going. You definitely had your work cut out for you running there underneath Kurt Schatzer.
Oh, I don't know if I'd say that. He was running a good defensive line there. Kind of making it hard for me to pass. Like you said, I had him a couple times. Caution came out, and we ran a great race. It was fun all the way around. I just got lucky right there at the end. I think he slid up a little too high on the track, and I kept it down. Was able to get up underneath him.
Yeah, it definitely looked like he struggled there for running that bottom side a little bit because of just how slick that track was. But it didn't really seem like one lane really prevailed over another too much.
No, the track felt great. I could go anywhere. Step up high, went up high, 1 and 2, and I lost some time. But anywhere from 3/4 of the track down, it felt fine. You just really had the baby head on the bottom.
All right, well, congrats getting a victory here. Who's your sponsors and shout-out you want to give for helping you get up there in the victory lane tonight?
First off, I want to thank Kurt for racing clean. Teammates at FGM, Swan Speed Sharps, Dupo Performance, GroupX.com, Dink Car Series, you for broadcasting, Coast to Coast for letting me come back and race, put on a show.
All right, well, pleasure having you here, and hopefully are we going to see you any more tonight in the here at I55?
You will.
All righty. Well, good luck to you as the night progresses. We'll see how you're doing at the races coming up.
I appreciate it.
All right, so that was William Watson, our first place finisher there in Victory Lane. Oh, I'm getting the dang podium flip-flopped here in my head for some awful reason. I've got Anthony Morano finishing second. I don't know what I got going on here in my own brain. But the standings are William Watson getting the win here. He's down in Victory Lane celebrating. Kurt Schatzer in second. Anthony Morano in third. And you already seen the rest of the grid there. So congrats to everybody. As we head out here, stay tuned here at Coast to Coast Racing Network and Fleeger Farm TV if you're watching over there to the network as we get set for the Big Block 358 showdown coming up next.
it's time for another edition of iRacing Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Gets on the champion, trying to be a bit of a hiatus, so let's get.
Right, we talked about it.
Outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
All right, we're back here from the Speedway. Get ready for the big race here. Okay, here we go. Flags out. We're going to be getting started. Oh, sorry about that. I didn't realize the track sounds were off. Qualifying underway for the big block 358 showdown. See the 16 there up Matt Barber. Whirling down there into turn number 1 and 2. Back out on that back stretch. Getting that picked up a little bit there as it comes down into the turn number 3 and 4. Seeing how that plays out down here in the corner number 1 again. Seeing where the times play out. Now we got Trevor Guru out there with a 12.496. Ed Morano with a 12.599. As more drivers are getting out there. Looks like we got Bob DeGood out there in the 7 machine. Reynolds out there with a 12.665. Barker with a 12.527. Going to take that second spot. Now we got out there, we got Dylan Kinsey. There's the 007 of Sam Bachman. Now he rolls down. There's the 00 of of D.B. Runkle in that 00. And Runkle right now trying to see where he jumps up there onto the board. He's sitting at 12.877. I think he's running a 358 at the moment, so he is going to have a little bit slower time here. As the big blocks are going to get off the corner just a little quicker, but he wanted some, when I was talking to him beforehand, he wanted some seat time in a 358, so we'll have to see if that's how he kind of took it. You see up there on the top side, you got the 21 of John Dubai. He comes around here making for his lap. Baker Dobson there with a 29.845, so he's starting at the back. John Dubai didn't quite get a time in. Heat number 1. It's going to be Anthony Morano out there in front, Mike Brewer in second, Dylan Kinsey third, William Watson fourth, Mason Hine there 5th, Mike Farmer there in 6th, Zach Chapman 7th, Scott Rione there 8th, D.B. Runkle in 9th, John Dubai in 10th. That is your starting grid for heat number 1. All right, here we go. Everybody getting started for heat number 1. Green flags in the air. They're down and away. Anthony Morano getting the start out there. But here comes Mike Brewer up there on the high side. He's going to hammer down, trying to get something working. As he's up there against that outside wall, coming down there through turn 3 and 4. Anthony Morano out front, getting a great start. And we got Mike Brewer down there on the bottom side, followed by Dylan Kinsey as well on the bottom side. But keep an eye on that number 23, our winner from the 358 division. He's out there. He's running in fourth, trying to get up to third. Well, he found something there a little bit in the 358, so I keep an eye on William Watson here as the race goes on here. Or as the night continues, and we've got them coming out of turn number 3 and 4 back down here into corner number 1. 5 laps to go. Anthony Morano out front. Mike Brewer there second. William Watson third. Dylan Kinsey fourth. Mason Hine there in 5th. Scott Rione there in 7th. Now as Matt Barber gets underneath him, you got Scott Rione there in the 7th. Zach Chapman there in 8th. Trying to buy out there in 9th with D.B. Runkle. Runkle, what are you doing back here? Up here towards the front, you got Anthony Morano, Mike Brewer back here in second. I think part of Runkle's problem is these all are big blocks here in front of him, and he's running a 358, so he's not going to quite have the speed to kind of stay with him. But I will say, I'm pretty impressed that he's able to keep it up there. He's doing really well there, considering. They come down there through final lap here. And work off the corner. Mike Brewer out there in second. Watson there in third. Dylan Kinsey there fourth. That's how they come across the line. We'll see if that's how they stack up officially. As results are coming in. All right, Heat 1 results. Going to be Anthony Morano out there in front. Mike Brewer there second. William Watson there third. Dylan Kinsey fourth. Mason Hine there fifth. Matt Barber there sixth. Zach Chapman seventh. Scott Rioman eighth. Davey Runkle up a spot and finishes ninth. John Dubai there in 10th. All right, here we go. Grid for Heat number 2. Randall Dixon there in front. Sam Bachman second. Jeff Barker third. Trevor Guru there fourth. Dean Reynolds there in fifth with Alex Pomerleau there sixth. Harold Klump in seventh. Bob DeGood there eighth. Clay Christopherson there in ninth. So here's Heat number 2 rolling off the grid. Come on, you do what I need you to. That's Sam Bachman out there on the high side. Randall Dixon down there on the bottom. All right, off the corner, waiting on that green flag. Green flag's in the air. They're down here in corner number 1 to go. Sam Bachman down there on the outside as Randall Dixon's down there. I'm sorry. Yeah, Randall Dixon's down there on the inside. Dixon working down there in the corner number 1. And or 3 and 4. Oh, that is 1 and 2 as they come down the back. You got that 75T of Trevor Guru up there along the top side. Along the bottom there is the 513 of Jeff Barker as he works down there. But look out, here comes Trevor Guru getting that big block on rails up there along the top side of the racetrack. As they work down there, top side coming to life. Here for the big blocks. Down that front straightaway they go. That 007 up there along the top of Sam Bachman. Trevor Guru there second. Randall Dixon down there on the inside. Cannot quite get the drive off. That the others are getting up there against that outside wall. Down that backstretch. And into corner number 3 as they go. Jeff Barker down there on the inside, up there towards the outside wall is Alex Pomerleau. Harold Klump down there in 6th. Dean Reynolds in 7th. With Clay Christopherson back there in 8th. Bob DeGood in 9th. They come around here, 3 laps to go. As they come out here, 2 laps to go as they come across the line. Down here in the corner number 1 again. Sam Bachman out there in front with Trevor Guru there second. Randall Dixon third. Alex Pomerleau fourth as they all are coming through. Bob DeGood brings it on to pit road. So problems for Bob DeGood as he brought it down there to try to get something worked on before the feature event. And they come down here through off the final time through 3 and 4. Sam Bachman out there is going to get the win. Trevor Guru there in second. Randall Dixon third. Jeff Barker out there in 4th. Alex Pomerleau in 5th. Harold Klump in 6th. Dean Reynolds tearing the car apart here in 7th. All right, here we go. Results for Heat number 2. It's going to be Sam Bachman out front. Trevor Guru there second. Randall Dixon third. Jeff Barker in 4th. Alex Pomerleau there 5th. Harold Klump 6th. Dean Reynolds there 7th. Clay Christopherson there in 8th. Bob DeGood in 9th. All right, warm-ups are underway. We'll be back shortly.
these dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
All right, here we go. We're getting ready for the main event. Here's our race info here for tonight. 66 degrees Fahrenheit, 67 degrees for track temp, 97% humidity. Partly cloudy at 9-mile-per-hour winds. And then onto the grid. Anthony Morano will start on pole here. Sam Bachman in second. Mike Brewer third. Trevor Garou there in fourth. William Watson fifth. Randall Dixon sixth. Dylan Kinsey will roll up there in seventh. Jeff Barker in eighth. Mason Hine rolls off in ninth with Alex Parmalu starting in 10th tonight. And Matt Barber in 11th. Harold Klump's going to roll off here starting in 12th. In 13th, that's going to be Zach Chapman. Dean Reynolds in 14th. Scott Rione 15th. And then you got Clay Christopherson starting 16th. D.B. Runkle in 17th. Bob the Good 18th. And John DeBye in 19th. That is your starting order here as things get underway. Everybody working here through the corner, back out onto the backstretch. Everything's looking good, looking great. 30 laps is the distance here. Now we wait on the green flag. Green flag's in the air. Here we go. Sam Bachman's out there on the high side. Going to struggle a little bit. Here they roll down into corner number 3 and 4. Anthony Morano down there on the bottom side. Mike Brewer there in 4th now. He falls back there in that number 390, but gains it back, coming there off of turn 2. And falls back once again is Trevor Garou up there in that 75T. He's making a good run on the outside as they work going down through there. But that 23 of William Watson, he's still hanging in down there on the bottom side as they come rolling off the corner here. Everybody doing what they can, trying to stay up here towards the front. Got Zach Chapman down there in that Shaggy TV machine down there on the bottom side. They all try to work together. And working down there, you got Dean Reynolds, or I'm sorry, no, that's Alex Pomerleau, but no, Dean Reynolds is there. I did see that right. They work on there off the corner. 25 to go with Morano out front. Sam Bachman there second. Trevor Garou there third. Mike Brewer there in fourth. William Watson fifth. Randall Dixon back here in 6th with Dylan Kinsey in 7th. Matt Barber back here in 8th. Jeff Barker. Matt Barber back here in 8th. Jeff Barker back here in 9th. Jack Chapman in 10th. Oh, no, Dean Reynolds getting a little bit of a problem there from behind. Not sure what happened there. Now Chapman's up the racetrack. So Chapman ends up the racetrack a little bit there. Ends up sliding back. Davey Runkle moves up there in the 15th. Just trying to work his way around the track so far. 22 laps to go. Morano out front. You got that 75T of Trevor Guru up there along the top side. Sam Bachman there 3rd. William Watson there 4th. Mike Brewer 5th as they roll down here through. Oh, no, and Randall Dixon gets in contact there with Dylan Kinsey in that number 639. They're going to try to make sure that they're not beating off of one of too much. And it comes storming there through turns 3 and 4. Everybody doing a great job. They might end up having some lead problems here soon as they come back down into corner number 3. And Morano leading. William Watson there in 4th. At 75T, so I'm trying to figure out where the battles are. Everybody's kind of single filed out right now. There you see Clay Christopherson. He's trying to get that top side to work a little bit. And he goes to the outside of Harold Klump. Klump falling back now into 14th as Clay Christopherson gets it up there into 13th. Dean Reynolds there in 11th right now, trying to get up there to figure out if he can maybe battle for 10th or not. At 397, Alex Pomerleau down there on the inside. Oh, no! Runkle having a small issue there as he comes up the racetrack, getting into the 21 there, I believe. Or did he get into the 2? I'm not sure which one. As there's 16 laps to go. Mike Brewer up here in 5th. Watson there in 4th. Sam Bachman there 3rd. Trevor Guru in 2nd as they come rolling off the corner. There you see Dean Reynolds. Clay Christopherson back there. That is about on 10th position. As Anthony Morano's got it locked into that high line. And head on down through. As the night goes on, it looks like that top lane is starting to really get a hook on it. Sam Bachman there in 3rd. William Watson there 4th. Mike Brewer in 5th. Randall Dixon here in 6th. Dylan Kinsey 7th. And they work on down there along the bottom side as well. Scott Riome there in 9th. Jeff Barker there in 10th. Dean Reynolds there in 11th. Clay Christopherson there in 12th. Alex Pomerleau there 13th. Harold Klump there in 14th. 11 laps to go now. They come across the line there. You see Trevor Gru up there along the top side. Anthony Morano still getting that bottom side to work in places as he's now to the top side through 3 and 4. See what he does through 1 and 2. So he looks like he's running bottom and then top. So bottom through 1 and 2 and then top through 3 and 4 is kind of the pattern he is currently running. We'll see if anybody else picks up on that and tries that. Like you say, the old adage is you can't get there by following. Well, sometimes you got to follow a little bit, especially if their lane's quicker than yours. Try to get up there and then try to slide it for the position. I always see Sam Bachman there in 3rd. He's starting to gain on that 75T of Trevor Guru. Mike Brewer back there in 4th. William Watson there 5th. Randall Dixon there 6th. Dylan Kinsey in 7th. Matt Barber there in 8th. Scott Rione back here in 9th with Jeff Barker 10th. That is your top 10 right now with 7 laps to go with Anthony Morano out there in front, up there against that outside wall, trying to keep it off the wall enough, though, that he doesn't damage too much of it there as he backs down into the bottom side of 1 and 2. With Trevor Guru back up there on the top side. There you see everybody trying to find a position here that works for him as they work here off of 2 down into corner number 3. Anthony Morano out there in front. Trevor Guru there 2nd. Sam Bachman there 3rd. Mike Brewer 4th. William Watson there 5th. Randall Dixon there 6th. And so on as they work on down through here. Caution is out. Try to see who's involved here. This could shake things up. Oh boy, can it ever. Didn't quite catch this. And Morano down here on the bottom side. Ends up coming down here, seeing what happens. We'll see what happens here. Oh, he just locked up. Comes in too hard. and loses it in the slick. It just hooks right around, collects the 75T. Everybody has to dodge around him, or Anthony Morano takes it to the pits. But Sam Bachman and others have to try to gather it up. And the 75T there of Trevor Guru, unfortunately, is facing the wrong direction at the moment as he gets it spun around there in front of the pace car. Tough break there for Trevor Guru, running a really good race. And Morano lost it there in the slick. Green flag back in the air. We're getting it back here. Mike Brewer now your leader with William Watson there in second. There you got Randall Dixon coming up there in the fourth with Scott Riome in sixth. Those leaders battling it out. We know Watson has figured this track out in the 358s. What more can he do here in the big blocks as they get down through there off of the corner? Looking behind them, Randall Dixon and company trying to battle it out. Got 639 there for third. 2 laps to go. Here as they come down the backstretch. That 639 of Dylan Kinsey currently sitting in third, but he's got a whole slew of cars behind him. Everybody's wanting every little piece they can. And you got Davey Rungle back there. He's running the top side, trying to see if he can gain a little bit. And they work here off of 2 down that back stretch here for the final time. Around the front stretch, Mike Brewer getting the win in front of William Watson. Dylan Kinsey gets the victory there, or gets the third place spot. All right, let's see who we got here. Looking for Dylan Kinsey if we can. There we go. Dylan Kinsey, our third place finisher. Good evening, Dylan. How's it going?
Pretty good yourself.
It's going well. A little bit of calamity out there, but you made it through.
Yeah, that sucks for Anthony. His VR decided to go and took Sam and Trevor with him. That sucks. But yeah, just snuck by there. Thank God, because that hole was going to close up that it squeezed through pretty quick. So yeah, I mean, got lucky to get the podium past Randy. I don't know, 3 to go. And yeah, I don't know. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to finish it wherever I was running right before that caution. So that kind of caught me by surprise.
Yeah, you definitely look good out there and look great there in that 639 sponsored machine there. Kind of take us through though. How slick was that racetrack? Was it worse with the 358s or was it worse here in the big blocks?
Track and like the slickness in the track probably felt the same. It might feel worse in a big block because you have that much more power. But I'm always way better in a big block. I'm really good with throttle control, so and I'm just more comfortable in it. I don't know if it's because there's a little bit of weight difference or what, but yeah, I mean, you just had to you were off the throttle a lot. Like I told the guys under caution, I was probably maybe half throttle on the straightaways, if that. So you just got to be mindful when it gets slick. You got to, be off the pedal a lot more than you think.
Well, like I always say, slow is fast, right? Is that what I understand?
Yep. Keep it tight in the corners, a little tight. Too tight's bad, but you got to, when it gets slick, you got to keep the car a little tight.
Well, congrats there for getting third place here. And are we going to see in the pro late models at all?
Probably not. I'm gonna hop off, spend some time with the family, so I won't do late models tonight.
Alrighty. Well, congrats for third place. You got sponsors and shout outs you want to give here for getting third place?
Oh yeah, all the guys at FTM, Dean Reynolds at Super Dare Car, Vertex Graphics, just debuted this paint tonight. Something different for me. I'm used to a bright yellow cockpit. Is all black tonight, so I had to get used to that early on. But yeah, Gunnar Swan Speed Shop, you for the broadcast, and everyone at Coast to Coast that makes it happen.
Alrighty, well, congrats there for third place, and you have yourself a wonderful night.
Thanks, you too.
All right, that was Dylan Kinsey. Now we're getting with William Watson. Well, Watson, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Well, you got the win in the 358. Came up a little short here in the big blocks, but it still looked like you had a decent run out there.
Yeah, it was good. That little hiccup right there, Anthony, the R shutting off on him was a little sketchy. I barely got through it. There was no catching Brewer. He was solid on the bottom, so I told him, I said if I had a couple more laps, I could have pulled up beside him, but I wouldn't have been able to have to run off the exit to get him.
And it's a tough break. I mean, and that's what happens. I mean, just a slight little miscalculation getting in the corner, it can send you around.
Yeah.
But once again, a great run there for you in that number 23 big block here. I'm assuming you're running big block.
Yeah, I'm running big block.
So, but you did a great job there once again. Like I said, just following up a little bit short there behind Brewer, but Brewer had a great run going tonight as well. So, I mean, all in all, a great race all around.
Oh, yeah. It was all good.
So you got sponsors you want to give shout-outs to and others that you might want to get shout-outs to here in the for getting second place?
Yeah, I want to thank Tyler Goldman at Vortex Graphics for the new rep I got on tonight. Teammates at FDM, Swan Speed Shops, Dupo Performance, GripX.com, D&D Dirt Car Series, you for broadcasting, Coast to Coast for hosting.
Alrighty, well, congrats. And are you going to be running any Pro Late models, or is your night done now?
Yeah, I'll be up front in Pro Late models.
Oh, you're going to be that confident, huh?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we'll see if that plays out, or hopefully you don't end up spinning it out. So good luck here in the Pro Late models coming up.
I appreciate it.
All right, that was William Watson. Now we'll get with Mike Brewer, our winner. Good evening, Mike. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fairly well. How are you doing? Not sure if you had to change your race suit after that one or not.
Oh yeah, we had to change that off a bit and got lucky. Tell you what, if that didn't happen, I might have got a podium out of it.
Well, you got the podium, you got the victory here.
Hey, we'll take it. Lucky or not, a win's a win. It sucks to see that happen to him there. He had an issue with his VR, I guess, but hey, we'll take it definitely.
So is that what I'm hearing? Is Morano had a problem with VR and it?
That's what I heard. Yep.
Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah. Get handed the lead like that. I thought William was gonna get me there a couple times. I made the mistake of jumping to the top on that restart because that's where I was running and I felt like I was fast. But I think a couple more laps, Watson he definitely probably would have pulled me if I didn't move to the bottom.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like it depended on the driver where they had the speed at. Some of them they were doing okay at the top. Some of them it was half and half. So, I mean...
Yeah, I think you could get hooked up either way. You could be on the bottom or running through the middle there as long as you caught that moisture off exit. But all in all, it seemed like some pretty good racing. I don't know how it looked back there behind us, but it was a ton of fun up there in front.
Oh, it was
side by side.
It's been fun all over the place. I mean, definitely a lot of great racing going on tonight.
For sure. Yeah, I gotta thank you guys for putting it on. Everybody at Coast to Coast, all the guys over there at Full Throttle Motorsports, Dino over there at Dirt Car, Expert Installation, Swan Speed Shop, and everybody out there watching.
All right, you have any other shout-outs you want to give?
Well, I think we covered it.
All right. Well, congrats on getting the victory here. Are you running the Pro Late models?
Yeah, we're gonna give it a shot. Not too good in them, but I'll go get some seat time and be a field filler there somewhere.
Alrighty, well, good luck. We'll see you on the track.
Thanks.
I have Mike Brewer, our victory winner here. Good evening, Shaggy. How's it going?
It's going pretty good, Adam. How you doing tonight, my man?
I'm doing fairly well. A lot of great racing so far. I'm excited to be on track here soon.
Yeah, most definitely. I was bouncing around there in the middle of the pack, and I kept getting in people's way, so I decided to get out of it. And oh man, that was a racy track tonight. I definitely bit off more than I could chew this evening.
Well, I mean, you didn't do too terrible. I mean, you didn't finish last.
Well, yeah, but that was only because Anthony's VR headset puked out on him, so he took care of last place for me. If not, that's probably right where I was going to finish.
Yeah, that does suck how that sometimes happens. Hopefully in the future he'll take the time to make sure that it's fully charged and ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, Adam. Whenever I'm up where you're at, yeah, it's a travesty. But if I'm on the racetrack with Anthony and he wants to let his VR headset die, he can do it every single time because in 10 out of 10 races, he is ahead of me, so that's a free position.
That definitely was a great race to watch here so far through the modifieds. And I know you kind of had an issue last week, but hopefully everything's taken care of there, and we handled things. So, I mean, still was a great race last week.
Yeah, definitely, and I appreciate it. Yeah, for those out there. I mean, obviously, it is what it is. It's sad, but man, my grandma, she's had a good one. She's in her mid-90s now, so it is. It's not that good for her, but hey, she's ready to go. She said, and she's lived a pretty good life. So.
Alrighty, well, we'll keep that in our thoughts and prayers here at Fleet Reform TV as well. And I mean, it is tough, especially whenever you're one of the main caregivers as well. I mean, I did that with my grandmother too, help get my mom, take her to chemo treatments and everything else. So, but
yeah, definitely no fun. But
no fun. But
I wouldn't trade that time for nothing. Yep, yeah, I wouldn't trade that time for nothing.
So, but I think we're ready to have some fun here tonight, Zach. If you are.
Yeah, man, I'm ready to do the swap whenever you are.
Alrighty, well, count us down.
All right.